Hey y'all, Harold here, and today we're going to build a machine for our workbench to do all kinds of testing between software and hardware, some data recovery type work, and anything else you can think of, configuration of switches and all that kind of good stuff. It's all a bunch of scrap parts that I found, well not really scrap, but spare parts I found laying around the garage, and so we're going to assemble this thing and cross our fingers and hope it works. Here's an overview of the parts that we're using for the build. Make special note of the electrical tape. That'll come in handy a little bit later. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get started here by getting the motherboard installed. And I've already got the standoffs in the correct positions. What we don't have, however, is the backplane for this motherboard. It's somewhere lost in the shop here. And we'll just get this guy screwed in real quick. And now for our power supply. Get you going here. All the holes line up, that's good. Hope they line up. They don't really differ from one power supply to another, as in they don't if you're all working strictly in ATX land. Alright. Grab the screw that we dropped and throw you back in the screw bin. So one downside to this power supply is that it only has two SATA power connectors. So what are we going to do about that? We are going to add an adapter for our third hard drive, and since we're using an ID CD-ROM, it doesn't really matter. And the reason we're using an ID CD-ROM is I only have one of these left on hand that I can find. So that's the rhyme and reason behind that. So get our power installed to the motherboard, kerchunk in, and you need to come over here, and voila! Power for the motherboard is done. So we've got two connectors here for floppy drives if you're trying to put them in, although this motherboard does not have a floppy adapter, so can't do that anyway. Have to be USB only. And let's see, for thinking forward about cable management, although it doesn't really matter in this build, it's just a clunker. We're going to put you there, and we'll use that one for the CD-ROM right above it. You guys reach down there, and you are going to tuck down and out of the way. So, next, we'll get the RAM installed. In total, this machine's going to have 2, 4, 5, 6 gigs of RAM, and there's a matching pair of 2 gigs and a matching pair of 1 gigs. We're just winging it. So, we'll get the output going right there. 2 gigs 1, 2 gigs 2, 1 gig 1, and a 1 gig 2 for 6 gigs installed on the board. Cool. And next thing we should probably do is get this heatsink installed. Put a little extra goop back on the CPU here. Goop. Good enough for the girls I go out with. Isn't very many of them, since I'm sitting here in my garage building computers on a Friday night instead of going out hanging out with girls. Alright, get heatsink installed, and we'll smear that around a little bit with the heatsink. Add a little more goop. A little more thermal goop. Rub it around. Rub it, 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 rub it. All right, I'm happy. So I'll go ahead and latch you on there. Latch you down over on this side. Oops, maybe. Come on. These are always my favorite. Why don't you want to go? I meant to go the other way already. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way for this. Although that seemed to work. Let's try it the other way because I want my fan connector close to the plug-in for the fan. Oh, there it goes. Perfect. And that's locked down, heatsink locked in, loaded, and plug the fan into the motherboard. Right over yonder. Installed. Yay! That was easy. So next, let's get our expansion cards in. So we got 3 cards going in. We got a graphics card that's PCI because I can't for the life of me find another PCI Express card. I've got AGP all day long, or PCI. So if you want to build a fleet of Pentium 4s, let me know. I can hook you up. And hopefully this works, because I don't know. I think I picked this up a number of years ago from a recycler. And I don't remember why, even. I just decided to. One of those. And it was probably $5 or something like that. Silly. Right price. So hopefully we get video when we turn you on. Screwdriver's too small. Graphics card installed, and we've got the gigabit NIC. There's one on board, but we're adding a second because, well, we can. And in we go. Get you a screw here. That is the wrong thread. Get you a different screw. How's about you? There we go, that one works. Perfect. Then we've got our SATA RAID adapter. Everything in this machine is SATA 2, just as well as this RAID card. Which, for being a test bench machine, we don't really care. Bump the camera. Unbump the camera. And RAID card. Come on. There we go. And RAID card is installed. Next, what do we got next? Next we probably should, well, I guess first thing we should do is figure out where the power switch is on this motherboard and get that plugged in. We don't care about the hard drive LED, LED, whatever you want to call it, or the reset switch. Well, we've got our front side USB, that'll be important to us. Get you in right there. Oh, and we've actually got other items to install. And this is audio, front panel audio, don't care about that. You are, oh, here's a power switch, that's the power lines. Push all you back into their abyss of things that will never be seen again. And we've got an eSATA adapter for back in here. Grab a screw for you. and a couple additional USB ports. Pretty sure everything on this board is USB 2.0. Pretty sure it's about, somewhere around 6 years old. And voila, there we go. And eSATA will plug in to our SATA connector. Well, before we do that, that's going to get in the way of our front panel switch. Let's grab our power and find our power switch. Is it you? No, it's not you. Is it you? Hey, I found it. Alright. Unplug our power. And let's go ahead and put you eSATA right in here. Oh yeah? Oh, it's broken. What do you know? Well, maybe it'll still work. And we need you front pan or rear, the other USB junction. Should have put this on before installing the cards. Tight squeeze. Let's get in the right spot here. There we go. You are installed. So now the back end has a total of 4 USB ports and 2 on the front. Woohoo! That's fancy pants for 6 years ago. Jeez. And what's left? Getting drives installed. So we're going to set up a different camera angle so we can watch that. So, if you were wondering why on earth I had electrical tape out for this build, there is definitely madness to my method. Our little 2.5-inch Seagate drive here, or terabyte drive, doesn't mount anywhere in this case. So, how are we going to do that? We are going to do that by taking this piece of paper and doing some arts and crafts and then taping it down. So, let's go ahead and get started. While I'm crazy enough to be doing this, I wouldn't necessarily recommend you do this at home. Your results may vary, to say the least. This is definitely not an approved method of installing a hard drive. For what we're using this box for, it is going to suffice just fine, and I don't really care if it fails. So, we're going to be ridiculous. So we firmly, as you can tell, have our hard drive installed. I don't know if you can tell, hard to see. Yeah, you can barely see it in there. There you go. There's our 2.5-inch drive, firmly installed with electrical tape, because I'm a genius! And onto our Western Digital Caviar drives. These guys we're going to set up in a RAID 1, which is why there is the RAID card installed. And onto our optical drive. And let's make sure our jumper settings are correct, because that is the thing with IDE. If you're not familiar, you have to set jumpers. Table select slave, master. You are in slave right now. Let's go ahead and put you on master. One thing I never trusted, even though it supposedly worked, and on a lot of machines it did, one thing I never trusted was cable select. So I always did my own master-slave configurations. And so I still do. Next, it's time for cable fun. Woohoo! So, take our IDE cable here, get you plugged into the motherboard as such, and we will go ahead and get you plopped into the CD-ROM drive here as such, and we'll get you out of the way, back behind this way, like so. And then we got our power connectors here, one for our CD-ROM with Molex, and power connector for our 1 terabyte drive that is held in with electrical tape. And we'll push you over that way to get you out of the way. And for you, we need a data cable. And we'll put you down onto the motherboard. I could run everything off the card, but why? I've got ports on the motherboard. And we need to get data for our Caviar. Well, let's get the power in first, because that's going to get in the way otherwise. Alright, Caviar Blue, number 1. And a number 2. And from our SATA card, alright, let's get the cable on. And we need to get the second cable on. Alright, those are on there. And we'll go ahead and get the drives hooked up. Like so. And like so. And all hardware is installed. So I guess it's time to put the cover on. And the other cover. And if we're really nice, we'll go ahead and screw this cover on. Of course, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here. May not even work. I might have to pull it apart again. But we're willing to take a chance. Why not? It's all in the name of science, or something like that. Alright. Nope, too big. And the time for the moment of truth has come. It's time to find out if this thing fires up. We'll be back with that in a second. Alright, now it's time for the moment of truth. We're going to find out if this thing turns on and whether or not we actually get video and it'll boot up. Fingers crossed that nothing explodes. And away we go! Hey, monitors just flashed. Hey! There we go. Control S for the RAID utility, or F4. We need to create a RAID set. And we want to create a RAID 1. And we'll do an auto config because there's only 2 drives. So, hey, it did it. And that's it. So I RAID set 1. Cool. Control E. Yes, we want to exit. And I guess that means we can pop Windows 10 in. And maybe it'll boot. we might need to look at our BIOS. There's our RAID adapter. Alright, standard setup. ID master. Hey, there's a disk. SATA 1, there's a disk. Okay, perfect. Advanced setup. And boot device. Removable device. No, we want you. And then these drives. First and second, there we go. Back. SLI rate set 1. And disabled. Alright, that looks better. F10, save, exit. Is it going to do it? Oh, 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 I think it's doing it. Oh, look at that. Look at that. It's Windows. It's booting. Woohoo! So, it looks like at this point, we've successfully built a test bench machine. I'm going to go ahead and get Windows installed, and I'm not going to do a video on that while I'm sitting out here in the garage. But yeah, we're going to have a test bench machine that's going to have up to 2 gigabits of data transfer available. Although, with being SATA 2 and being limited by the PCI bus, and yeah, just spindle drives, 7200 RPM drives. Yeah, we may not actually see those kind of transfer rates, but still, we got a machine that's booting and getting ready to be built. So that is all for today, and thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit like and subscribe. You can check out more videos on builds coming up. Got 2 new desktop server builds, servers to be built with desktop hardware. Got parts coming in for that, and we'll get those going. And aside from that, we've got more of the technical training videos for doing Windows server installs going on. And we're going to branch out into Ubuntu Linux for doing system monitoring and things of that nature. So keep checking in, and we will get back to you next time.